You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
It's your co-host, Danny.
And we have an interesting trading card scenario. This is a special edition trading card scenario.
What we're looking at here, we don't have particular cards in this scenario. We're just talking about a straight up trade in light of the James Harden rumors to Milwaukee Bucks. The scenario is James Harden and Christian Wood for Khris Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, DJ Wilson, and a future first round pick. So Jason, I'll give you my initial thoughts and then I'll turn it over to you.
Okay.
Contractually, this is where I think this move may make sense for the Bucks. Middleton is signed through 2024. Harden is signed through 2023. Harden has the star power. Middleton is an all-star, but still doesn't get that respect just based on how he disappears sometimes in games or in crucial games like the playoffs. As we're thinking about this hard news and a possible trade that would make sense for both parties, this is the trade we came up with because we thought, or I think, Middleton going to Houston at this current time would fit really well with John Wall and what they're trying to do there. And then Harden coming to the Milwaukee Bucks would fulfill the big three from Giannis's perspective and possibly coerce him to sign that Supermax deal. Jason, what are your thoughts?
My initial thoughts are I do not like James Harden's game at all. This whole thing about dribble for other people just watching him dribble, I am truly not a fan of that. Having said that, can't deny his skill level, his craftiness, him working on his craft, and the fact that he gets buckets. I mean, let's just be real. I give credit where credit is due. James Harden, over the past 3 years, he's averaged 34.3 points a game this previous year, 36.1 the year before that, and 30.4 the year before that. In that time frame, when you look at how many minutes a game he plays, this previous year he played 36.5 minutes a game, 36.8 minutes a game, and then 35 and a quarter a game. I do not like his game, but you cannot deny the fact that he is very crafty. He can get to the basket. He can get to the rim. He gets fouled. He goes to the free throw line. The big thing I think we will be sacrificing in this trade is the fact that James Harden only shoots 35%, 35.5% from 3-point line, 36.8 the previous year, and then 36.7 the year before that. But look at how many times he shoots the three a game. Last year, he shot 12 threes a game. The year before that, 13 threes a game. So the offense obviously ran through James Harden. There have to be a changing of an offensive mindset that James Harden would have to undertake here. And I will also say this, Danny. If this thing doesn't work, this is say the trade happens.
Yep.
If it doesn't work out in the first quarter or the first half of the year, the Bucks are going to fire Coach Bud. And don't be surprised if they don't go out and get a D'Antoni.
Yeah.
Do not be surprised because now you have Drew Holiday, a veteran point guard. You have James Harden, who D'Antoni coached. And then you have Giannis. So don't be surprised if Coach Bud gets fired and then they go out to get D'Antoni to kind of help clean this thing up. I don't know. I don't know, man. Look, if we get Seawood in that deal, okay. But I also have to say this to the fans and to you. Initially hearing this, I was like, hell no. After talking it through, though, and thinking about it, that would make me such a hypocrite. I'll tell you why. Because over the past few months, year, since we've been doing the podcast,
Yep.
I have always said that we need to put all the chips in the middle of the table.
Mm-hmm.
By making this move, we would be proverbially putting all the chips in the middle of the table. Even going into a luxury tax, possibly, that's putting all the chips in the middle of the table. Getting a James Harden, putting all the chips in the middle of the table. And if fans are interested in just the name alone and not necessarily the game, I am not a hypocrite, and I would have to approve the trade. Because we would be, again, putting all the chips in the middle of the table.
Well, Jason, well said. I would be curious if that did occur, but until we see, because it's just been way too quiet on the Bucks front. And obviously, I'm not an insider by any means, but from my perspective, there's a little smoke here, and I'm curious how this would work. And I look at the package being what we had proposed at the beginning of this segment, because it's very similar to what they proposed for Bojan Bojanovic. So it's just Middleton instead of Bledsoe. The other scenario would be a third team would be involved to make things work. And then you have Giannis doing the pick and roll action with Harden feeding him like he fed Capella when Capella was with Houston. Give him those easy buckets, those easy alley-oops. So, and you have a facilitator as well with Holiday. So it would be the big three. It would be where Giannis has nothing to gripe about because they've made major moves to improve the team in theory. And this is your team you're running with to the championship in theory.
Even though Giannis doesn't like Harden or vice versa. And we don't know that personally. We just know what Giannis said when he was drafting his all-star team. And he decided not to draft Harden. Said, I want the ball thrown to me, MVP and things of that nature, and who should have won and all that stuff. But anyway, let me ask you this, Danny.
Yeah.
Middleton is only averaging, and I say only, and this has been a staple of the Milwaukee Bucks over the past few years under Bud here, and where Bud only plays Middleton 29.9 minutes a game, so basically 30 minutes a game. The year before that, he only played him 31 minutes a game.
Yep.
If we increase that to like 35 minutes a game for Middleton, I mean, that could get Middleton a few more buckets. Agreed. Would that be sufficient, or do we just continue on with this particular trade? Because I gave the averages of James Harden before, his scoring averages.
Yep.
In that same time frame, though, James Harden averaged 36.5 minutes a game, 36.8 minutes a game, and 35.5 minutes a game over the past 3 years when he was scoring 30 points or better.
Yep.
That could potentially, let's just say Middleton gets 6 extra points. Yep. So that's he'll be averaging about 26 points a game, 35 minutes a game. That's still like 10 points less than what James was getting.
Yes.
At James's scoring height.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be asked to do that in this particular system. The question is, we know that Middleton is going to get more minutes. Do we sacrifice, or do we make this trade knowing that and sacrifice 10 extra points
and thinking about this too, with the shortened season, do you rock the boat that much from a talent standpoint by bringing in Harden and getting rid of Middleton? I think that, but then, like I said, this all hinges on Giannis. Who does Giannis want to walk out of those doors with onto the court? If they put this in front of Giannis, because they are, who does he want to go to battle with? And who does he think will get him that championship he is coveting so much? Because that's what he's playing for, right? He's playing basketball. His agent's taking care of the contract. So this is what it ultimately comes down to. Who does he want?
This is putting all the chips in the middle of the table.
Yep. And if you're bringing in Harden and you're changing things and you have a shortened season, obviously you can make that up in the playoffs, right? Because you can use some time to get acclimated and all that. But that's the other kicker here is how does that impact chemistry going into the season when they're about a week and a half away?
Not only that, Danny, but even defensively.
Yes.
How does that work? I mean, James Harden has gotten a little bit better defensively over the past year and a half. But you have a stout defensive crew in Drew Holiday, Giannis, Lopez,
Middleton,
and
too.
even DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
So DiVincenzo will be involved in that trade. So who else would you get to start? Let's think about that for a moment. So you would have Drew, Giannis, Drew at the point. Who'll be at Harden at the 2?
Yep.
Who'll be at the 3 at that point in time?
Well, in this particular scenario, we're talking about Christian Wood, right? So Giannis would play the 3, Wood would play the 4, Lopez would be the 5.
Lopez would be 5, yeah.
In this particular scenario, like I said, it would be tough because I'm sure Houston wouldn't want to give up on Christian Wood since they just signed him, but it makes the trade scenario very interesting, especially because that was one of the players you wanted to see back in the Bucks uniform.
I want to see him back in the Bucks uniform, yeah.
So that's where this one is very intriguing for sure, and we will see what happens with the Harden rumor mill this week, and if something like this may come to fruition in the near future.
Stay tuned, fans. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.